All right, we've got the newest killer here, the Unknown, on the new map. And this is the Old Lady skin. It's my first game with the Unknown. I don't know much about this killer. I think you just basically launch grenades at survivors and try to get them weakened, and then you can injure them if they're still weakened. This thing says some really creepy things as well. It's like those stories of people who go into the woods and they hear the voice of a loved one or someone close to them calling for help. It's very creepy. It's like a anecdotal evidence is not always the greatest, but I've read too many stories about instances where people actually encounter these voices in the woods, where they claim to have heard people who are familiar to them calling for help, and you know, like maybe in Native American tradition, the elder says don't go because it's a trick, something he's trying to lure you into the woods. So it reminds me of that, and that it's very deceptive. It's trying to get you to come over to where it wants you to get closer to it so it can get you. I really do like the theme of this killer. It's very creepy indeed. Not a big fan of it being another ranged killer. I think we've gotten enough of those killers recently. Okay, still getting used to the frame data of this killer. Obviously, I'm going to be missing some attacks early on. That's to be expected. So I'm using one of the Unknown's perks where you kick a gen and it applies your terror radius to that generator, and you gain undetectable. Just give it a try. I usually don't go for adept. Those challenges are meaningless to me, so I don't bother with them for the most part. The other perk I'm running is obviously Nowhere to Hide for some aura reading, Pain Resonance, and the one outlier is Territorial Imperative. I'm hoping that since they are using the new survivor, maybe they will go down into the basement to try that invocation perk. If so, I can catch them off guard. I have Michaela following me around for some reason. I don't have a Scourge Hook. That's not good. I really need that regression. Someone's here. Okay, maybe she doubled back. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this thing's power. The teleport is okay, but the grenade launcher, it's just, no, it doesn't appeal to me. And also the teleport's not the best either, because it's, for the most part, it's random. You randomly place these clones of yourself around the map, and if they're not in a good position, there's really no point in teleporting to them. As I said, I'm not a fan of the fact that it's another ranged killer. I don't like the ranged killers in general. Okay, that's fine. I'll take the Fang instead. Just as long as I get someone on a Scourge Hook here. There. From what I've seen so far of this map, it's okay, but it's... Once again, it's a very big map. And it just amazes me how the developers say that big maps are a problem, but then they keep coming out with more and more big maps. So I'm not sure if the map design team is not getting the memo or something, but they definitely need some more communication. Stop making these maps so large. Yeah, it wants you to come here, so you better do as it says. Okay, I'm undetectable now, and that generator has my terror radius. Doesn't really last too long, though. It's not like Trail of Torment where... Someone down here? No. They do have that invocation perk, though. It's not like Trail of Torment where you're undetectable for as long as the generator regresses. So I'm not sure why you would run this perk over Trail of Torment. Okay, she's running Dramaturgy for some reason. Oh, this gen's almost done. Here, come back. I want to sell you something. There's a bunch of food and drinks back there. Aren't you hungry? Yeah, not a big fan of this killer's power. I don't know how, in terms of lore, how does a how does a grenade launcher fit into the lore of this character? I'm not sure. It's just really weird. Honestly, it seems to me to be a lazy way of just coming up with a power for a killer. I mean, did we really need another ranged killer in this game? He's not even a strong range killer because they can... If they're weakened, they will take damage. But if they look at you long enough, they won't be weakened anymore. So they can break out of it and you have to reapply it all over again. It's not even like Nemesis Tentacle where you hit them and they're infected. In the middle of a chase, you can't get rid of the infection. So I would say this killer is probably comparable to Nemesis in terms of the chase mechanic. But it's a very weak, much weaker version of Nemesis because Nemesis, you can't get rid of the infection mid-chase. This killer, you can. And then you have to reapply it. Whereas Nemesis, if you're infected in a chase, you're going to get damaged by the tentacle. I would definitely say this is a weaker version of Nemesis. And it's very easy for survivors to get rid of that weakened condition. All they have to do is look at you. I played against bots when this killer first came out, just to get a feel for it. The bots break you out almost instantly. It's pretty much useless trying to use this killer's power on the bots. And good players will pretty much do the same. I don't think they gave this killer enough of a buff from PTB. It's too easy to break out the weakness. Yeah, see, if she was looking behind her, she probably would have broken me out. I wouldn't have been able to get it down. Get out of the way. I'm trying to showcase the Mori. Oh, well, it's blocked anyway. Yeah. Censored Mori. Survivors are so damn obnoxious in this game. I swear, these players, they just think they're something else. They think they're God's gift to gaming or something. The hell? That didn't go over the rock, it actually bounced off it? Yeah, I have to reapply that because she broke out of it. Okay, now she's in. You really do have to look behind you with this killer. Of course it bounces off the pallet. Why not? I have her dead to rights and it fails. Yeah, it's... First impressions of this killer is it's not a very strong killer, to be sure. I think it's a very safe killer. That seems to be behavior's pattern as of late. They keep designing safe killers that aren't too much of a threat for survivors, especially newer survivors. Are they going to come get their friend, or... Oh, there they are. Is that Gate 99? Yeah, that won't do a damn thing. Look, it needs help. You're leaving when it's asking for help. How rude is that? See, you can't count on these survivors for anything. Killer's trying to ask for help and they just leave. Good for nothing survivors in this game. Oh, it's a shame I can't play the pinball machine. Yeah, it's playing it. Yep. I want to see what other games they have here. If they're behavior design games, they're going to be easy mode for one role and super difficult for another. Fantasy Quest. Couldn't have gotten a more generic game title. Yeah, not too sure about this killer. Very, I would say, underwhelming at the moment.